All right, welcome back to the channel. Gotta love it. Another day of talking about boxing when there's actually no boxing going on. Let's talk about Bob Arum, though, saying that the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, and the Joshua Pulev fight are up in the air and wait and see. And at the same time, complimenting somebody that is helping him arrange fights in the Middle East. And for him to be working with a guy, the type of guy that he's talking about it's not mind-boggling, but it should tell you a lot of things about how boxing operates. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. Hey, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and thank you to everybody that supports the channel as a channel member, everybody that supports in the Patreon, and everybody that supports in the live streams we do Monday through Friday. Thank you guys so much for your support. Let's talk about Bob Arum and some fights that he is arranging between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, and also between Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev. Now, I can't remember when it was that I started realizing that Bob Arum it's after the fight between the first Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight, when Tyson Fury did not take the immediate rematch. He went and took two other fights and signed with Top Rank. That I was like, okay, Bob Arum, for the first time that I can think of, is really making a push in the heavyweight division to get his hands on the heavyweight belts. If you guys recall, boxing in the 70s, through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, all the way up to maybe, 2000s, early 2000s, it was really Don King. Don King and Bob Arum were both the big two promoters in boxing. It looked as if Bob Arum really was focusing on like the middleweights, to smaller weight classes, while Don King, though he definitely, both guys had fighters in both, the higher and the lower weight classes, but it was really Don King dominating the heavier weight classes, specifically heavyweight, and Bob Arum doing the lighter weights. But now Bob Arum is making a serious push towards getting all of the heavyweight belts. He has one with Tyson Fury and has a guy, Kubrat Pulev, in a situation where he's going to be fighting for 3. Now, the reason why Bob Arum says that these, are wait and see, is quite obvious, but there's something a little more, funny to it, to me as well, based on something that I got from Twitter. Steven Espinosa's been co-signing some comments, and I was like, wow, I really didn't know that about Bob Arum. And I think that is significant. But first, obviously, the most obvious reason why the fights are up in the air is because of the fact that there's a virus, and there is, the United States is travel in and out of the United States is more difficult. Travel in and out of the UK is more difficult. The venues are not currently available in the United States that they would like to hold these fights in. Specifically the Deontay Wilder fight. The same situation applies to the UK, to the fight with Anthony Joshua. So, that's the most obvious reason. They're saying, these fights are wait and see, because everybody's kind of in a wait and see, don't know what's going on. I would like to say that is the only reason, but I do not believe that is the only reason, because I know, and I've watched Bob Arum long enough to see how these things go. Mandatory fights, and there's a saying about Don King. But I think that it applies to Bob Arum as well, which is once the contract is signed, that's when the negotiation begins. So Don King would get you in a contract, and then once you're in the contract, you find out there's all kind of stuff that makes it difficult for you to get a fight made in a way that you think is in your best interest. Well, with Bob Arum, you notice that mandatory fights are ordered. But those mandatory fights find a way of disappearing once it's no longer in Bob Arum's interest to make those fights. Case in point is the fight between Jose Ramirez and and Regis Prograis. As you are familiar with, Jose Ramirez is right now, I think he's the WBC and maybe the WBC and the WBO. Yeah, because he's a Bob Arum fighter, so he got that WBO. The WBC and the WBO belt. Now, before he got the WBC belt, he was in a missed tournament, which was mandated by the WBC, and that tournament involved Regis Prograis fighting Julius Ndungo and Jose Ramirez fighting who was it that he fought? Emir Imam. So Regis Prograis beats Julius Ndungo. Jose Ramirez beats Emir Imam, and the two are supposed to be supposed to make that fight, right? Did the fight ever get made? No. And it was apparent from the minute after that fight ended that it wasn't going to be made, because as soon as Bob Arum got his hands on the WBC belt, he was like, no, I'm going to have Jose Ramirez fight my guys. I'm not going to do that fight with Regis Prograis. As a result, Regis Prograis had to go the World Boxing Super Series route to get his hands on I think he eventually got his hands on the WBA, then lost to Josh Taylor in a very close competitive fight in the UK. I think he got jobbed there too, because it's supposed to be a neutral, in a tournament, you're supposed to have a tournament in a neutral site, but no neutral site. The fight's in the backyard for Regis Prograis. Regis Prograis loses his belt. But it's that type of thing that takes place with Bob Arum on a fairly regular enough basis that makes me wonder if there's something else besides just, besides just the corona issue that is causing this stuff. And what really hit me this morning was on Twitter, there was a series of tweets that were, a tweet that was let out, and actually Steven Espinoza from Showtime liked the tweet. That's why I found it. And it was a bunch of quotes from Bob Arum about a guy who goes by the name of Dan Kinahan. Dan Kinahan is the son of Christy Kinahan. And as soon as you look him up, now, Dan Kinahan is the founder of MTK Global. MTK Global is a boxing management company that manages a lot of the big fighters, a lot of the fighters out in the UK. I do believe that Tyson Fury is definitely MTK Global. I don't know if Anthony Joshua is MTK Global or not, but MTK Global also sponsors IFL TV. They've got Billy Joe Saunders. They've got a lot of fighters over there in the UK. But Kinahan, who was the founder, is not famous for founding MTK Global. He's famous for being an arms dealer. And his father is famous for being a heroin dealer. And when you look them up in Wikipedia and see who they are, the name just gangster comes up. It's not even like, like it could be in the US, where you have some suspicion that somebody might be involved in some underworld, underworld activities. Underworld activities, I guess that you call it, the underworld. You know what I mean? That's when it's I guess it's when it's black folk, they call them just hoods and thugs. There, I guess, they have a cartel, right? A cartel, yeah. It's just the dude's a drug dealer, the dude's an arms dealer, and now what does he do for Bob Arum, and what is Bob Arum celebrating him for? Because he's the guy that is arranging fights and fielding offers for fights to take place in the Middle East. So you're dealing with the drug dealing arms dealer, drugs and arms dealer, to get fights set up in Saudi Arabia, dude. And a guy that's just above the table, just out there. I mean, God dog, if you're going to be that, you can just look it up on the internet. Man, it's amazing. So what concerns me about it? First of all, let me say this. I know that's rampant throughout boxing. He's not the only guy in boxing that is that particular way, but or that you can say that thing about. But what gets me is that these guys are involved in Tyson Fury's career. They're involved with Bob Arum. Bob Arum is on record as having admitted that he bribed, I think he bribed the president of the IBF to get people in certain rankings. It's just like pulls out to the forefront that you are not dealing with some straight up guy you buy with Bob Arum deal. Dude, you know, birds of a feather flock together, man. Birds of a feather flock together, and he seems entirely too comfortable with this dude. And judged on his past behavior, yeah, I think the dude is a little bit of a sneak thief, probably a little bit of a crook, which leads me to this. That's why the whole thing about the idea that Tyson Fury could have cheated in the fight being ridiculous is so ridiculous to me. Like your people act as if you say, oh no, there's something wrong with that glove. It looked like that glove was loaded. I've heard all kind of stuff about the gloves. I've heard stuff about the egg weights in the gloves. I've heard, about, obviously about the knuckle move on the glove. Tyson Fury has tested positive for performance enhancing drugs in the past. So the idea that something is wrong with something is wrong for people suspecting that Tyson Fury might have cheated when Tyson Fury is tested positive for performance enhancing drugs. He has been kicked out of the ring. Not kicked out of the ring. He's been forced to change his gloves in the ring because he walked in with the tampered glove, right? He bribed a guy, Martin Carefoot. He bribed a guy from Martin Carefoot to give false testimony to cover up for his performance enhancing drugs, right? And his management company was founded by a heroin and gun dealer. Just the idea that guys that would do all of that would not cheat in a biggest fight of their career is absolutely ridiculous to me. Anyway, all of that stuff coming together might be loosely connected, but that's where my mind went when I read all of this stuff. Like, they don't know, it's touchy to go. We don't really know whether or not it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. But I got this great arms dealer. That was really good at getting deals done in the Middle East. Dude, you never know what's going on with Bob Arum, man. I just had to share that with you because I thought it was funny, thought it was interesting. You let me know what you think in the comment section. With that, I'm out. Peace.